different ages, like Gen Zs and the older people. Once you include all those, because those are the members of the community, and everybody learns, and everybody has a talent, they will see the need to work together to clean the environment so that that environment can serve us in terms of more production. And that is where we are going as groupings. So when we started as individuals. When we came out here, we found that there are many people interested in cleaning the environment, and that's how I found myself as a member of Embu Clean Energy Association, of which I have been offered the position of vice chair, and we have been working with them, doing many things. We are including people in solar energy. We have included people like us. We are also on the side making charcoal briquettes. A lot of our members are doing economic G-costs, the ones that you use less fuel. We are saying everybody who has something to offer towards modernizing the weather, the climate, you are most welcome to be part of that clean energy. You are welcome so that we can even form larger associations in the whole country. But we have started first of all with the Embu Clean Energy Association, whereby we have a membership of going to 150 now members, and increasing every day. And we have found support from NGOs because they are also looking at that. When Farm Africa came around, and I keep on mentioning that, they came up with a program of paying farmers who have maintained trees in their farms. They look at the count the number of trees that you have in your farms, and they pay you money. Maybe a lot of farmers will not know that, but it has happened. We have been paid money because of maintaining trees. And apart from that, Farm Africa, now I'm saying there are many other associations, NGOs, which have come up, and they are all pointing towards that direction of encouraging small farmers and encouraging groupings who will show that they are clearing the bad effects of what we have been doing all along. Nowadays we don't want to hear anything like we are killing weed using herbicides. It is bad. Why don't we look for natural ways of clearing weeds? And why should we clear weeds anyway? If a weed is somewhere and it's not disturbing you, leave it. It's part of the cleaning of the environment. Whichever weed is near your crop, then you can clear it in a good way. And there are many ways we have discovered to do that, and applying very little labor, if any. We are doing something called no-till or minimum tillage. What happens to minimum tillage is that we don't use any labor. We use very little labor, if any. We want to dig only where you are putting your crop. The other place you can leave fallow. What happens to fallow places? Have you discovered that whenever some land was left fallow, the next season will yield a lot of crops? And why? Wale watu walikuwa wanafika kichaka long time ago and clean a new area. Would you compare that output of that time of the new clearing to the next consequent farming? In the next 2 seasons, you find that the crop starts going down. Why? Because there's a lot of tillage. So if you can go the minimum tillage way, you will see the difference. And that way, you'll be able to have a lot of biomass. That biomass, you can convert it to animal feed. Once they feed, what do they give you? They give you manure, they give you good fertilizer, organic, and there you go. You are able to increase the productivity for human and both for and also for animals.
What are we looking forward to in this farm today? Maybe what have you done uniquely? What are you doing in the normal way?
we in this farm generally, we have tried to do innovations. And as I have said, particularly these NGOs, particularly this one called Lipotech, which were here recently, they have been able to direct us to anybody who is doing innovations, things that are simply done and which have not been done before. If they find such people, they are very happy and they want to encourage them. Simple solutions to problems that have always been there. So there are small solutions, like nowadays in Embu County, we have been introduced to fish farming. When we introduced ourselves to fish farming, we thought that since we have small land, very small lands, we cannot be able to do adequate fish farming. Otherwise, how do you put a fish pond where you have been farming and the area is small? So we went for innovations. We listen and we do innovations, and we have started doing raised ponds. When you do a raised pond, it means that you are using space upwards, and the ground level you do it minimum. There are also trenches that sometimes we dig around near our fences. We dig a trench, and nowadays I'm calling it a river at home. I have a small stream at home. You put water, because we are blessed to have irrigation water. You put water there using the canvas, whatever you call them. You call them the polythene papers. Once you build a trench and you put polythene and you put water, you have water retained. And we have discovered the moment you put water in a place and that water is stagnant, it encourages a lot of life from nowhere. Water is life, that's what we say. And insects have discovered water is life. Frogs have decided water is life. Many animals, many insects and small animals, you find a lot of life in that water. If you put water and it stays around 3 weeks or a month, you will find a lot of life there from nowhere, including aquatic plants, where algae, you find a lot of plants there. And you know what? That is a source. That is now a source of food for fish. Because once a frog lays eggs inside the water, and your catfish eats that egg, are you not making protein? Do you know God's intention was for us to subdue the world? And they kept you up there in the hierarchy of food. God has kept you up there in the hierarchy of food, whereby you are up there, you can take whatever is down here. So you as a person, I'm sure you have eaten a frog, although you don't like it. I know if I tell you to eat a frog, you will wonder. But if you ate a catfish that ate the eggs of a frog, have you not eaten the frog? Same with other insects. Mosquito, which is a problem. Once you have mosquito laying eggs in that water, then the mosquito is eaten by, or the eggs are eaten by the aquatic animals. Then you eat the aquatic animals. You have already eaten the mosquito. All animals, all small animals, you are on the top of that food hierarchy. You find that a chicken will eat a snake. I'm sure you know. So when you come and eat a chicken, haven't you eaten the snake? So generally that's what happens. That's what happens in the hierarchy of food. And once again, I have just said before, I said that the source of protein is very scarce. And I think we are the ones who has made this scarce by not realizing those inventions. If you look at those inventions, they will show you that there's a lot of protein around here. One minister during, I think it's during Uhuru, or during Kebake, I think, he was asking people, why don't you eat rats? Why do you go hungry? Why don't you eat crickets? Why don't people are like, what is this minister talking about? But I think it was right. Why don't you eat crickets? Why don't you eat si watu wa Western wanakulanga kumbi. Even around here, I think people used to eat kumbi, which is the ants from ant hill during the rains. People used to eat them. If you can eat them, you eat them. If you cannot eat them, then why don't you make the chicken eat them, and then you eat the chicken, and then you will find that you have protein. So here you can be able to gather sources of protein a lot from just observation only. From innovations, you can do that. Not just that, we have many innovations that we have learned little by little, and it's through learning that we come out with innovations. We have quite a number of them.
So in this farm, do you offer training or just is for your fellow colleagues whom you have been practicing differently, just engage together?
Those groupings that you hear, when people realize they are doing the same thing, when you are in groupings, you are able to train each other very well. That's number one, without even any commercial gain. But the moment you gain those knowledges, once you visit other people's farms and you see what they are doing, when they come and they see what I'm doing, then you are able to integrate those wisdoms and make it into one large thing. And when you find that the NGOs are supporting that, they are supporting groupings, they are supporting inclusiveness, they are supporting innovations, then you find that everything is going together, because you feed your family, the other person will feed their family, you come out with knowledge. On top of that, the NGOs will come and congratulate you and probably fund you somehow. They might fund you because the moment you become a trainer of the rest of the environment. There's something I discovered in accordance to what you have asked. I discovered that you don't become a college, because if you become a college, I don't know whether it's even illegal to have a college in your place, but it happens that somebody tells the other, and people know as they go around. If you want to see something, go to somebody, he will show you. Then you find people flocking, and once people flock, okay, you can charge them, yes, but I prefer to do it the other way around. We are growing Azora, sell them as.
So now, as we are here, you want to take us around. Where do you start and where do you end? What happens in the farm? Do you have? You have spoken about rabbit farming, chicken farming. You are speaking also about goat farming. So, how does all this come about, and how does it benefit the farm? How does it relate to environmental friendly climatic change, as we may call it for now?
Thank you. That's a very good question, and that's where now the complexity of a farm comes. The farm will definitely look at the items that help each other. One item you will do will lead to the other, and that other item will lead to the other, and the last item there will benefit from the first one. This is what we call integrated farming. I think that's what we call it, integrated farming, whereby you would like to see associations of every unit. Like, take your farm into units. How will unit 1 help unit 2? How will unit 2 help unit 3? How will unit 3 help unit 4? And at the end of it all, how will that end unit help unit 1? So that's where we start and end. Actually, as we go next, probably we go round, you will see that we start somewhere. We start with something I call unit 1. Unit 1 is quite a unit within the farm, whereby all animals live together in one unit, a big unit that is subdivided into several animals. We said we like or we love smaller animals. I have not started cows, and I've never done cows, and I think it will take me longer before I will do cows. But by the time we go around, you will come to see that we even have smaller animals than what we have mentioned, the chicken and the rabbits. We have smaller animals. We have worms in the farm. We have we grow flies in the farm, flies, BSF. We grow flies, we grow worms. Why? Because we want to integrate and we want everything to help each other. We grow fish as one of the smallest animals. Okay. So how will this unit help the other? How will that other unit help the other? That's how we succeed in the integrated farming. That's why how we succeed in the natural farming without necessarily using chemicals. Because once you start introducing chemicals, you negate what we are trying to make. So when you integrate, is when you find that now everything will be knit together, and we will come up to increased production and less carbon emission and cleaning the environment. We encourage trees in our place so that those trees can also hold climbing plants. You know, we have climbers. We have serious climbers that can produce massive production. We have so generally what we can say, we can take you to, we start with the unit 1, the one that we described in terms of an area set for animals. Why do we set that? That's our basic. Why? Because without that we cannot move. Why? Because you expect the waste of all those animals. Actually, you will see when we go that it is put in one unit. The whole of that waste, whether it's duck, whether it's chicken, whether it's rabbit, whether it's goat, whatever you collect in terms of waste, you put together, you come with a very potent mixture, which when you go out and put it now to cure, and which we like to quicken the curing using just normal things. We use something like something called EM, for those who know, effective microorganisms. There's a formula of microorganisms that you can use to fasten the rotting of those items. When we go to unit 1, you will find that we collect a lot of trash almost every other day. We collect a lot of trash because we try to keep the animal place clean. And once you keep the animal place clean, all that trash is converted into heaps, and those heaps we go with them all around the small farm, because the farm is small. We go all around the small farm and we make it cure in whichever corner we think is necessary, so that by the time it comes to crop, every crop will be adequate in terms of manuring and in terms of fertilizing. So that the moment we start going with you to unit 1, you will now see that that's where the integration starts. Because without those animals, you will not be able to do anything else. That is our first step. That's where we get our trash. That's where we get now the fertilizer, and which is the lead product in the farm.